Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all. Today we're going to ask and answer the question, if there's only one God, why are there so many religions? And of course, before we do that, let's do our affirmation and we'll read some from Karen's book, Simple Light. And of course, as always, the light is in the business, as the Rav and Karen taught us to say. And so I open up to this. Disharmony need not exist. If something happens to you, if you are in an uncomfortable situation, try to turn it around. Not just in those moments of discomfort, but at all times. Each and every one of us has the power to prevent wars and natural disasters. We are all part of the light energy, and we all have the power to change that which is dark into light. This is what it means to be spiritual. We need to use the tools available to us from whatever spiritual path we are on and from whatever course of study to advance the cause of unity, not separation, the cause of human dignity, the cause of respectful treatment for our fellow beings. We are all part of this purpose. So as Karen is inferring to us, saying directly actually, each one of us control our destiny. We decide what the world looks like individually and collectively. And the whole point is, no matter where you come from, what particular path you came from, or even think you're on now, whatever religion, spiritual path, belief system, there's only one purpose. And that's what we're going to understand a little more details about today. And so, to empower us, help us set the pattern, to help us set the environment for this understanding today, this wisdom, let's raise our consciousness as we say together our affirmation. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So I'd like to start from the beginning in this world. And many of you know that what the Kabbalists teach us and what we teach in the Kabbalah Center, that the Bible, the 5 books of Moses, is true. Those things did happen, people existed, etc. But it's also a code. It's a code that those who have a desire and therefore willing to make an effort to see through the surface level, the exterior, will be able to penetrate beyond that exterior to understand the code, if you will, the technology that these people used to manifest the miracles, to create all of the blessings in their life, so that we, thousands of years later, can use the same technology to make our lives better today, even in simple terms. I shared this with somebody recently. Some of you may have heard me say this, a cell phone. Technically, the cell phone has been in existence for 14.5 billion years since the Big Bang. There's nothing that makes the cell phone today that is not already or was not already in the universe from the Big Bang. What happened is, it took us 14.5 billion years to figure out how to put the pieces together. So you go back to the Bible and it says very simply, the Genesis chapter 1, out of the endless world into the physical material world came only one ethereal being that contained all of the light of the Creator that filled the one soul, the one vessel that the Creator created in the endless world. And as it says, that one soul that came into this world, that one being, was both male and female energies. Then in Genesis 2 came the separation or extension, that one soul, that one vessel filled with light. I don't want us to understand it as split into two, but extended into two bodies that we call Adam and Eve. So there's still one soul, two physical material bodies in the physical material universe. Now, remembering, as most of you who've been with us for a while understand, the Hebrew or the Aramaic letters are literally particles of the light of the Creator and the DNA of that one soul, of the soul that exists in all humanity. Not created by any human being, they manifest as all physicality. None of us created physicality. We manifested it in this physical world from all the consciousness, etc., Kabbalah 1, from the endless world. So what was the language that Adam and Eve spoke? What would be the language of the soul? Not the language of a human being, the language of the soul. They spoke Hebrew because every Hebrew letter has an energy, a vibration, a sound, a color, numerical value, etc., DNA, and therefore they spoke Hebrew. Now we come into the physical world, and inherently, by coming to the physical world, we added, if you will, from the infinite immaterial world of the endless world, we added materiality, physicality, five senses, and all that the five senses offered us, which was, we added that piece from the spiritual immaterial to the physical five sense dense materiality. Now we have free choice. We, as Adam and Eve, because remember, there's still only one soul, extended into Adam and Eve, and then extended into more bodies, more bodies, more bodies. And that's why you and I speak of it here as a spiritual internet. Still one soul extended out into all humanity. So back in that beginning, we as Adam and Eve are now given free choice, free will. Do we choose the physical materiality, the five senses aspect of this world, or do we choose the spirituality as we remembered in the endless world? That choice is manifested in the coded Bible as the tree of knowledge, good and evil, and the tree of life. And even the hint is, the coded hint, that the Creator speaks to Adam and Eve and says, don't eat of the tree of knowledge, good and evil, which Kabbalistically means don't fall into the illusion, don't fall into the physical materiality as the source of good, as the source of true lasting fulfillment. Always stay connected to the spiritual realm, the eternal light, the tree of life. Well, you and I know the story. We chose wrong, because the purpose of coming to this world, into the physical world, yes, to have the free will, to have the free choice, to be able to choose consciously with effort, to act like the Creator 24/7, love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, gratitude, generosity, humility, etc. To be unconditionally shining our light, which is true love, shining our light on all humanity, being a better, more spiritually evolved, which simply means shining more and more of our light, of all those light-like behaviors on all humanity, all day. Because the mistake we made as Adam and Eve is we chose the tree of knowledge. We fell into this world of illusion. And therefore, by separating from the light, fell into the darkness of the chaos of this world. Good, bad, up, down, healthy, sick, order, chaos, love, hatred, greed, generosity, all those, if you will, opposites. The tree of knowledge, good and bad, meaning a connection to the illusion of the ups and downs and the chaos of this world. We chose it. That's the thing to remember. But our purpose is to daily be more spiritually evolved, quote, better human beings by choosing the light over the darkness, choosing love over hatred, shining our light towards the people, places, and things when our buttons are being pushed, when we're feeling uncomfortable. And just one more point. So even when there was the splitting into Adam and Eve, we said they spoke Hebrew because that's the language of the soul. As Cain and Abel and on and on and on, more people came into physical existence, still extensions of the one soul. They also spoke Hebrew because that was the language of the soul. Until when? Until we got to the story of the Tower of Babel. Simple terms for now, the Tower of Babel was people because everybody, and if you read carefully, go back to your Bible, even the English translation says, all the world, all, doesn't say some part, this group, all the world was one language, one set of words, meaning everybody spoke Hebrew. But since you and I made the mistake of separating the physical material world from the pure realm of the light, fragmentation, separation, basically now selfishness came into existence. So there was a group of people who decided that they were better than God, that they were the power, they were the ones who had the ability. In simple terms, they were going to rebel against the Creator, build this tower, so to speak, up to heaven, even metaphorically, to sort of get to the Creator or God or whatever they perceived it is and overtake it, right? Like a war. So what was the effect? Because you and I understand that, as we've spoken about, God doesn't have that kind of jealousy, anger, love, care, reward, punishment, but their own selfishness. Yes, they used the power of the light and the unity of the language that everybody spoke to conspire to build this tower, to, in essence, be selfish and disconnect from the light in even a greater way. So what was the impact? The languages were confused, right? Came from that moment forward, all the creation of any language you want to call. English, French, Spanish, Greek, Swahili, Latin, I don't know, German, Russian, French, etc. They are all extensions of, if you will, or iterations founded on Hebrew. And that's why in every language, there are certain words that are the same in Hebrew and in whatever that language is. For me, the simple example is the word tour, like you go on a tour. Well, it's the same word in Hebrew to show us, yes, that all languages come from the root of our soul language, not the first language we made up, the language of the soul, the vibration of the light as it raised up from the soul of Adam and Eve through the mouth, it vibrated out as Hebrew. We call it Hebrew. We understand that. Now, still go back to, there's only one creator, there's only one system of the soul, one operating system, and that's simply what the Zohar is all about. It is the blueprint of the universe. Therefore, it is the technology of the soul. It is the understanding, not that it's easy, as many of you have tried to read it, but in essence, it's the blueprint, and therefore it's all of the system, the universal technology of how the energy of the light manifests in this world, manifests through and in us, and what we can do to stay connected to the light all the time, achieve our purpose, acting like the light, especially to grow into being better and better people, higher and higher elevated consciousness by shining our light into the darkness. 24/7 is our ultimate goal. Now, after the Tower of Babel, which was the next major transformation, if you will, from what we did as Adam and Eve, we created more fragmentation. Different languages. So language separated and fragmented people. And then, as it says in the Bible, people scattered all over the world. And as they scattered all over the world, essentially came distinctions, whether you want to call it race, culture, nationality, I don't know, body types, etc. Obviously, languages were different. But there's still, the point of the Zohar, there still has to be a unifying system. So for me, a couple examples we might use. A conductor in an orchestra. You have whatever, 100 musicians. They have different instruments, but there's one sheet music. Each group, so to speak, has its own particular aspect, piece of the master sheet music. You have a conductor, one person who has all the sheet music that conducts, because they have that sheet music, they can conduct all the various types of instruments and people into harmony. If you look at a jigsaw puzzle, you open the box, you pour out pieces, let's say 1,000-piece puzzle, but on the cover of the box is the whole picture. So now when you pour the 1,000 pieces on the table, you have a way of uniting all those various pieces. Each piece is unique. And if you want a complete 1,000-piece picture from the 1,000 puzzle pieces, you cannot leave out any of the 1,000 pieces. They're all different. They all look different, have different parts of the one picture, but they're all unique and they're all necessary. So when we talk about, yes, after the Tower of Babel and Adam and Eve and whatever, the distinctions of people, color, race, nationality, languages, but those distinctions were meant to be brought back into unity because there's one soul. Our job is to create unity. Adam and Eve were meant to share with each other, etc., and therefore be reunited as the one soul. As it came into more extensions of people, more human bodies, it's still one soul. Our job is to live from the soul, not from the body. That's the free will in this world. The body says, give me this, give me, fragmented, separated. It shows us fragmentation. You're over there, I'm over here. It looks in the physical world like we're far from each other. On a soul level, there is no distance. We are all one and all, on the soul level, interconnected. So the point is uniting all the different cultures and languages and people, etc., not into sameness. This is essential, because what we see in the world over the last thousands of years, people in essence think that the point is making everybody the same. No, impossible. Impossible. Like the jigsaw puzzle. Each piece is unique. Each piece is essential. You leave one out, you don't have a complete picture. I mean, the Rav used to use an example, if you buy a brand new car and one of the knobs on the radio, let's say you buy $1 million car, fancy, all the gadget, this and this, but if the knob on the radio, out of the $1 million car with thousands of pieces, if the knob is not on the radio, it's not a complete car. Sure, you can drive it and everything else, but you understand the idea? So the Kabbalists teach us no human being on earth is disposable. No human being on earth is not essential to bringing the one soul back into unity on even the physical level by love, kindness, and compassion, by the actions that will cause the soul's light to shine and bring unity. But we have to have the differences in all the ways. The orchestra, different instruments. If it's one person just playing one instrument, okay, it may be nice, but it doesn't sound like an orchestra. The point is all of the different instruments, and not just playing their own music, playing from the same sheet music, from the same opera, from the same symphony. Imagine whatever sport you pick. So imagine people playing baseball. So you have 9 people on the outfield. You have 9 people who are up at bat, as they call it. But what if the people on the outfield suddenly decided they wanted to, instead of playing baseball, play tennis? Or among the 9 people, instead of playing their positions, they each have a position, first base, second base, shortstop, outfield, etc. What if they decided they didn't want to do that? But the left fielder wanted to play second base. So now you have 2 people on second base, nobody out in the field. No, everybody has their own place to be, their own piece, but it has to be in unity. The team has to be in unity in order to win. The parts of your body cannot be all the same. We have different organs in our body. They have to function ideally, perfectly, but then also be united with all the rest. You can't have a vital, healthy human being taking out the liver, the kidney, the gallbladder, the heart, the brain, like that. No. A piece by itself cannot be a healthy, vital human being. You need all the pieces working in harmony together. And that's all that Kabbalah and the Zohar is about. How do we see it? Even simple, you go back to the Bible stories. Abraham, the first person bringing unity. In fact, they always say, Abraham is known for monotheism. He was saying, no, there's not polytheism. There's not many gods out there. They're all one. What the Kabbalists explain is, yes, what was before Abraham, everybody or different people were seeing the power of, let's say, the sun. We know there's power in the sun. We know there's power in the trees. We know there's power in different things. There's a form of light of the Creator that allows each thing to be. Rocks, trees, animals, the stars, the planets. They were fragmenting it. It wasn't like a worship. They thought this was God. What Abraham did was he came along and said, no, there's one Creator that unites all of the parts, that is the source of energy in the stars and the planets and how they move, and the plants and the animals and even the human body, etc., etc. There's one unifying operating system. So you read in the code, it says, because at that point now that you've got all kinds of nations, cultures, languages, etc. around the world speaking different languages. So Abraham, in its coded way, it says, Abraham gave all that he had to his son Isaac, meaning the Zohar, this Kabbalistic wisdom, and then he gave to his other children pieces of that would awaken the 100% of their soul's potential. But they were, let's call it, different frequencies, different vibrations. Like some of you who have more than one child, one may be good in sports and one may be good in academics. You don't say, well, one's better than the other, whatever. You want to give both of them love, kindness, compassion. You want to give both of them an education and an understanding how to live to their fullest. But obviously, the one that's better in sports, yes, you'll give them some, don't start going off on me here. Of course, you want them to do well in school or whatever, but if they're true, as we call it, God-given talent is sports, you want to encourage that and let that come to fruition in a way that brings love, kindness, and goodness and generosity to others. The same, those who are good in various academic things, you want to give them more support in the academics so they'll be best at that, but again, unified with everybody else. All the parts in unity. Everywhere you go, any business that's got more than two people, more than one person, has to be a unity, but each one has their job to play in the health of the entire and the growth of the entire business. Look all over the world, it's all this way. So this is the point. But unfortunately, even though Abraham brought this wisdom in the language, if you will, or the vibration that would suit each group out there that had been fragmented because, as we've talked about, bring them into unity. But remember, we created for a good purpose in the big picture, but it's our challenger, that AI program we call the opponent, Satan, traditionally the angel of death, evil inclination, the ego, etc. Desire to receive for oneself alone selfishness. We put that program in our head, and it is programmed to create divisiveness. So in one's own head, it's to continue the influence to choose the tree of knowledge, good and evil, instant gratification, reactivity, me, myself, and I, over the tree of life, sharing light, kindness, love, compassion, generosity, forgiveness, and tolerance. So we put it so that program in millions and millions of people's brain made the differences, language, culture, color, nationality, whatever, made it divisive, made it frictional, made it fighting, made it discord. Even unfortunately, like we see today, hatred, violence, all the terrible stuff is the AI program. So remember, it's not about making everyone the same. And unfortunately, even as the AI program was working in the minds of people all around the world who had been given the spiritual system, because remember, one operating system of the soul, in a way that each group could understand, let's call it in their religion or their soul vibration, created different and divided spiritual paths and what we call religions. You have different religions. And sadly, the AI program made us believe that one is better than the other, or one is right, one is wrong, however you want to look at it. But if you think, at least in English, the word religion is re-legion, to reunite. We fragmented ourselves way back as Adam and Eve from the light. We disconnected from the light. Our job is to reconnect ourselves with the light. So when they say, even in simple terms, religion, what's the purpose of religion? To reconnect to God, to stay connected to God. Well, like we talked about here, it's not a God being, thinking good or bad, reward, punishment. No, it's the emanator of light. So even what's called religion, its true intention is, how do you plug into the light of the Creator and be a better conduit of the light, shining more light, like we affirm, greater love, kindness, and compassion, generosity, humility, forgiveness, tolerance, apology, appreciation. That's the point. So whatever your religion or background is, if it's not making you a better person every day, then it's not achieving its purpose. And again, you look around and you see, fighting, even forget cross religions. How many, whatever religion you'll name, infighting. Each group with itself, Jews with Jews, Christian with Christian, Muslim, Buddhist with Buddhist, Hindus with Hindus, atheists with atheists. I don't know, whichever way you'll say it. So you can't just say, well, it's because there's different religions. No, this AI program is divisive in every way, shape, and form. How many of you have ever looked in the mirror and said anything not nice to yourself? So who are you going to blame? Them, that color, that nationality, that religion, this group doesn't. No. It's a program of divisiveness. Our job is pause, take the light of our soul that fills every soul, no matter how badly a person's behaving on the outside. Let's say with the physical body, there's still the voice of their pure light soul making an effort, is speaking, like it speaks to all of us 24/7. But unfortunately, the actions that each of us have done over this lifetime and many lifetimes have made the voice of that opponent louder generally than the voice of the soul. What we're learning, and again, this is the purpose of the Zohar and the Kabbalah, especially the Kabbalah Center, which is, we often talk about the lineage from Moses on Mount Sinai to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who brought the Zohar into physical being, physical written level as opposed to just oral, and all the way down the line from Rabbi Shimon to his student, to that who was the next master, who was the next, had a student who was the next master, all the way to Rav Ashlag, the founder of the Kabbalah Center, to Rav Branwein, his one true disciple that continued this goal, this mission, this purpose to bring the wisdom of Kabbalah to the world, who had one student, Rav Berg, who together then with Karen brought the Kabbalah centers to the world, the teachings of this pure Kabbalah Zohar to the masses. Look, even within that, some of you may have even heard what happened. Again, a form of divisiveness. Here you have this perfect picture on the box that can support, inspire, guide, empower each of us to be 100% and in unity with all the different people out there. And created the divisiveness called Jewish mysticism. It's not Christian, it's not Muslim, it's not Buddhist, it's Jewish mysticism. No, that's not true. Kabbalah is not a religion, philosophy, ritual, dogma. It is a technology. Technology. And just because I'm hearing something, what about this? Probably it's still, but years back, I just haven't looked recently, and of course everything's online more than it is physical, but you used to buy an electrical piece of equipment, electrical appliance, whatever it is, you have the operating manual. And usually on the first page you open it up and there was a big triangle with an exclamation mark, and essentially it would say, do not try and fix this. Don't take the back off, don't do this and this, or could electrocute, harm, damage, or kill the person. And years back when I first started teaching, people say, oh, this is just another religion. I said, look, it's technology. I said, are you going to tell me then that whatever, your electrical appliance is part of a religion? Because that big triangle with the exclamation mark says, don't touch or die, basically. Well, doesn't that sound like religion? So I guess we're going to say that electricity is a religion. I don't know, that computers science is a religion. Oh, no, it's a technology. But yes, within the technology, there's cause and effect. There's actions and consequences. The point of what the center is teach every human being on earth this technology. Everyone. But the divisiveness, that's why people think it's Jewish. And therefore, in traditional Judaism, you don't touch Kabbalah. Number one, the first thing is until you're whatever, Superman, then maybe you could study Kabbalah. No, technology of the soul. And the soul is the only thing in common to every human being on earth. Like we said, after that, race, color, religion, background, belief system, whatever it is, There's differences, talents and abilities. We all don't have the same talents and abilities, but that does not make any one person better than anyone else. In fact, people who think, oh, my talent, my ability, my money, my this, my that, they're already disconnected from the light of the Creator. They're creating pain, suffering, and death not only for them, but for everybody else, because they're not channeling the light. The fire hose doesn't try and take responsibility and say, I'm the one who put out the fire. No, the water put out the fire. The fire hose allows the water to be channeled and directed to put out the fire. You and I are vessels. We want to be conduits of the light, but we're still just conduits. We have our job to do. We have a responsibility, but it's not my talent, my ability, or anything that comes from that. My money, my fame, my fortune. No. It's the light. Yes, I need to appreciate the light that's extended in my soul. I need to appreciate the power, the blessings, all the goodness that it can bring me as I shine it out into the world. But the purpose, again, the center, Kabbalah center, spreading the Zohar and this wisdom, is to give everybody access to this wisdom so that they will be able to operate as better and better people. And that's why, yes, it's always been. And in fact, my first few years back in 87, 88, 89, 90, for years, until fame and fortune came along, the whole world knew of the Kabbalah Center. Hollywood was coming to the center, and suddenly there's everybody coming out of the woodwork to imitate. But up to that point, they were criticizing us for that very thing. Teaching anybody who wanted to come learn Kabbalah. Because remember, in their mind, it was Jewish mysticism, it was the highest level, and even Orthodox religious Jews and this weren't allowed. On and on and on. People weren't allowed to have access to this. So that was big criticism when I started. How can you teach anybody? Even simply the non-religious Jews, on and on like that. No, the soul, one soul, united on a spiritual internet. Everybody needs to understand this. And that's why over all the years, as more and more people came to the center, suddenly we heard people say, wow, now I understand what Moses really meant. Now I understand what this teaching of Jesus is really telling us. Now I get what Mohammed was teaching, or Buddha, or whatever. And again, you don't have to come to the center and convert whatever you think that means. No. We're all an essential part of the one human being that came into this world. The purpose of what the center's doing is teach everybody the technology of the soul, so that through whatever they consider their religion or spiritual path, they'll be able to see the essence of how to use the light inside them to shine into the darkness of their confusion, their challenges, their obstacles, people not behaving nicely to them, etc. Our job is to act like the Creator. Does the Creator not shine light on people who act badly? Creator shines its light 24/7 unconditionally. Our job is come into this world and do the same thing. And if you look through the way the teachings of these great sages, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, etc., the way it's looked at today, if you look through it with what I call the eyes or the eyeglasses of even just Kabbalah 1 in the center, you see through the covering as it's taught divisively today, you see the true essence. Shine light. Unconditional love. Love your neighbors yourself is the bottom line. And even that, here, the ultimate goal, be like the Creator, unconditional love, shine light. No. Then you start to hear, no, Christians should only love their Christian neighbors. Jews should only love their Jewish neighbors. Muslims only their No. Our job, shine light on anybody and everybody 24/7. And remember, most importantly, because the more light shines out of me, the more light is reflected back to me. Cause and effect. There's not one microscopic iota of randomness, chaos, happenstance in the universe. It's exactly to the most minute, super microscopic level, everything exactly cause and effect. And that's why we learn no matter what comes my way, pause, shine light. As I'm shining the light and channeling the light through me, I'm a better person, I'm more kind and nice, I'm more protected, and I've repelled the darkness of people, but not their soul. Because their soul filled with light is a part of my soul, your soul, and everybody else's soul. The more I connect by shining light in the places that I've considered chaotic, challenging, difficult, or whatever, the more my soul of the one human being on earth is healthy and vital, reflects back to me greater clarity. So yes, I can see where I still have negativity and blockages, and therefore I can send light into those dark spots, and it enhances the rest of my blessings in life to be yet higher and higher. Even Rav Ashlag, the greatest Kabbalist, at least in the last 500 years, says any teaching, whatever you'll call it, religion, whatever, any teaching that makes a person act with greater love, kindness, and compassion, greater unconditional love to everybody, it's a good teaching, because that's the only purpose. Re-legion people with the light. Reconnect people with the light. And that's why everything we teach in the center is how I, from my point of view, can connect into more of the infinite light by acting more like the infinite light. You, from your point of view, can look into your life, the way you see the world, find those areas that are not illuminated, and make the effort to shine more of your light out into those areas. Unconditional love, the power of the Zohar. And that's why the center, again, any human being on earth who has a desire, has access to the Zohar, come to a center, order it online, etc. You can have that power because the Zohar is the conduit, the blueprint of the universe. Therefore, it shines. That's what its name means, Zohar. Shines endless light into this world. And therefore, being in the possession of a Zohar, pocket Zohar, sacred Zohar, which is all the Aramaic of the 23 volumes, or the Aramaic English if you want to do some study, etc. But I made myself these notes. What is the Zohar? As the light is one, the soul is one, humanity is one, and the technology of the soul is one. Therefore, by having a Zohar, even in your pocket, purse, your car, etc., one, shining the endless light, it empowers your soul, and because it shines light, and light extends out automatically, start to touch the soul of every person on earth. Using it, having it with you, awakening greater self-responsibility for my actions and my consequences. For you, self-responsibility, accepting it's not them who made you do or say. It was yourself. Yeah, influence. Yes, nobody denies that. They said something nasty, pushed your buttons. The button influences you to be selfish, reactive, think for yourself alone, etc. The Zohar empowering us to take responsibility for everything I've ever done or said. 2, it's to activate more of the power of the light in my soul so I can have more power to overcome that opponent voice in my head. 3, by shining light, it simply illuminates my environment. Greater illumination, easier to avoid the traps. Imagine going through a room, it's completely dark, you've never been there before, and somebody says you got to run across the room or cross the room to get what you want or whatever. You don't know if there's obstacles in the way or whatever. You're a little hesitant. You turn on the light and suddenly it's the same room with all the obstacles and things in it, but you can navigate because there's illumination. So having the Zohar creates that illumination, which also helps us see that what I have done comes back to me. where I thought they made me this or they caused me that, I can see the cause and effect of actions I did. Maybe a year, 2, 5 before what happened, but it's still cause and effect based on my actions. Your life is cause and effect based on your actions. And fourth point for now, it motivates us by awakening our soul to be better people. It's kind of pushing, creating, awakening, if you will, more of the light, which is only unconditional love behaviors. It awakens until we feel uncomfortable with our negative behavior, and we start to act more love, kindness, and compassion. Transcending the opponent, transcending the differences, piercing, as the great Kabbalists always teach us, look through the illusion, look through the covering on the outside to see the light that exists in every human being on earth and the light that exists in every part of the universe. And so, the more each of us will make use of the Zohar, the more each of us will scan the Zohar or just hold it and meditate to awaken the light in our soul and shine more light into the darkness, overcoming the opponent's thoughts, justification to not be light-like, but to act like the Creator, unconditional love. The more you and me, and we get more people to do it, the more quickly we cause the light of the Creator to be the critical mass, to reach 51% of the cosmos. And at that point, overwhelming the darkness, overwhelming the opponent, revealing this wonderful, bright, infinite light of the Creator in every person. And then that speeds up a merciful, blessed, peaceful return to the Garden of Eden, peace, love, and unity among all humanity forever. God bless. Hopefully for a lot of you, it not only just boosted, but awakened a new awareness, a new understanding what the Kabbalah Center is, why we do what we do, especially the ultimate goal, spreading Zohar all around. So as I do every week, and I just put on the comments here, get a Zohar, hand out Zohar, support the Zohar project in all the ways. Yes, we have scholarship program, we have master classes, etc., to help people understand what the system is, that it is universal, that it's inclusive of everybody and everyone, like the light of the Creator, no exclusive. And therefore, the faster we spread the Zohar and the light shows up, the better off it is for me and you and all your family and friends. Because light will rule the hearts and minds of people. That's the point. So those of you who have been contributing regularly, thank you very much. Many blessings. Those of you who have yet to donate to the center, particularly the Zohar project, I put the link here. Whatever you can give. Give with love, give with generosity, give with blessings. Give with unconditional love. It will go out, create miracles, and bring back miracles to you. Wow. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to do our meditation. This is one of the 72 names of God. We said the Hebrew Aramaic letters just shine light. This combination, Mem, Lamed, Hey, is the power of the Creator in the frequency called spreading the light, spreading this flame to awaken the flame, the light of the Creator in every person, so that they will feel, and you and I will increase the feeling, the fire of the Creator inside of us, and that flame of desire for the final end of all the pain, suffering, and death. To bring us back to love, peace, unity, and harmony, which is true just a quick reminder, parallel universes, different dimensions means that there is right now existing on Earth a parallel dimension where we are already in peace, love, unity, harmony. What this tool we're using now, the Zohar, all the wisdom that we learn, shining light, the pause and share the light, etc., is ways and means to raise ourselves into higher and higher parallel universes till we reach a critical mass of people accessing that final parallel universe of peace, heaven on earth. And so sharing light, sharing the flame, igniting a higher and more intense fire in us for the end of all pain, suffering, and death. So just look, let it be engraved in your mind's eye, Mem Lamed Hey. And then sitting comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hands comfortably in your lap. We're going to relax into the light force within and all around us. Taking a deep breath, breathe in through the nose, filling yourself from head to toe with the light, exhaling through the mouth. A circulation of the breath of life, which is the carrier for light force. Deep breath in through the nose, hold it for a moment as it fills you inside. Exhale, allowing all the tension, discord, distractions, let them be removed. Focusing on the pure light inside you, feeling surrounded, immersed in the infinite light of the Creator that fills the universe. There is no empty space. The light is infinite. Relaxing, thinking of the unconditional love of the Creator that emanates light into this world on all of us 24/7. Opening our hearts and soul more and more every day to feel it, to strengthen our desire to act like the Creator, and then taking more and more actions of transformational sharing, shining our light consciously from our heart and soul to the circumstances, situations that are obstacles, seem to be challenges, difficulties, difficult people, shining the light to brighten our world, to create greater blessings in our life, wherever we go, whenever we go. And as you relax into this immersion in true unconditional love, breathing normally, we envision the Mem Lamed Hey above our head, the unity of these three entities of light, conduits of light, shining in unity that support the sharing of the light, the awakening of the light, and that flame of desire to imitate, emulate the Creator, and bring the Mem Lamed Hey through the top of your head, allowing it to shine its light, awakening in every spiritual and physical cell of our being from head to toe. This awakening, this true desire to spread the light, to awaken the light in the heart and soul of every human being on earth. Removing the darkness in all its forms, the divisiveness in all its forms, the friction between people in all its forms, and thereby revealing the true light of the one soul that unites every human being on earth. In your own mind, the Mem Lamed Hey, increasing the volume and the attention that you pay to the voice of your soul. The other voice, the false voice, disappears. Its influence decreases as the voice of your soul, the voice of the Creator in your head, gets louder. See, feel, perceive your entire being shining the Mem Lamed Hey. And that energy, Mem Lamed Hey, in your heart and soul, awakening, stronger desire to be like the light, a greater awareness that you already have all your blessings. You already have eternal peace, happiness, fulfillment. We just need to radiate it, shine it out into the world to be manifest and experienced. And so together we take a beam from our heart and soul of the Mem Lamed Hey, shining it out to share the infinite light of the Creator. A beam of light out from our heart and soul to the hearts and souls of all your friends and family. Envisioning it awakening, a greater craving, desire to have all the blessings by acting unconditional love, kindness, and compassion to others, knowing that the light is our true lasting fulfillment, and it is the protection from chaos, pain, and suffering, darkness. And now we together, we see those beams of light emanating from the hearts and souls of our friends and family, out to the heart and soul of every human being, of the one soul internet. Awakening, fanning the flames of the light of the Creator in everybody, that we all have a greater awareness of the cause and effect in our own life, the clarity that any challenge, any obstacle comes our way is our soul pointing out where our light, our blessings are hiding in the darkness of that situation, in the confusion or chaos. And so we take this added awakening, Mem Lamed Hey, to activate the strength of our soul's light, of our own convictions, and shine greater light into the darkness, greater light to those people in those situations. That everybody is removing the darkness, the divisiveness, the fragmentation between people, and revealing that which already truly is the unity, oneness, interconnectedness of all people. And the Mem Lamed Hey helping us to see the necessity of every person on earth to remove their darkness and to include their piece of the one soul into unity. That we reach now the critical mass of revealed light, that then everybody will see more clearly. The souls will be awakened, and each of us will take greater responsibility for our own behavior, our own actions, and we'll be empowered with greater influence of our soul to shine light into the darkness, to be more appreciative of the blessings in our life, that they will grow, increase, and affect more and more people more quickly by the awakening of their souls to do the same. Let's see the world in peace, harmony, and love. Strengthen our desire to do the actions to make it happen, physically manifest in our life, in our lifetime for all. See it, feel it. Commit yourself to make it happen with all your enthusiasm, all your desire to achieve the purpose for which you came into this world, that we all came. And let's anchor it in our heart and soul as we take one more deep breath. The light of the Creator, and slowly exhale and opening your eyes. Thank you for joining us. Have a blessed day, evening, week, until we meet again. And for those of you who are familiar, and wish you a happy Hanukkah and a true connection to the hidden light that exists there. Those of you who are not familiar with it, I encourage you to go to onehouse.kabbalah.com and explore Hanukkah seminars, understand what the cosmic energy is. And I'll see if I can put a link here in the comments in a little while. But consciousness, a lesson that Michael Berg gave last year, explaining that Hanukkah and Christmas, New Year's, both 8 days, fall approximately usually in about the same time, because they come on a true inner level to mean the same thing. Like we were talking today, enhancing, by taking advantage of this opening that exists in this time to access that ultimate parallel universe of peace and harmony, what's called Ora Ganuz, the hidden light that is the true nature of every person on earth, a pure and perfect being of light. God bless, have an amazing week, and see you next time.